I'm Emma.
And I'm Emily.
And we will be going around asking teachers what they believe appreciation and appropriation means.
We took student artworks from the Old Master Project, and we're going to be asking the teachers if they think it's appreciation, appropriation, and why.
So let's go!
Do you know what appropriation or appreciation means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
Appreciation is when you show gratitude towards someone when they do something kind for you. Appropriation is when you steal something from another culture and pass it off as your own.
Okay, so here are the two pictures. That one was a painting from an Old Master, and that one was a picture taken from one of the children in our class. What do you think it is? Do you think it's appreciation or appropriation, and why?
Appropriation, because you're taking something from this culture and you're passing it off as your own. But you're using updated information, also a different gender, so it's definitely more modernized.
Do you know what appreciation or appropriation means?
Appreciation? Yes.
And what does it mean?
To appreciate something, to see the value in it, the worth of it. Yeah.
Then do you know what appropriation
I do not.
means? Appropriation is like stealing someone's photo and making it your own and not giving credit to it. Do you believe that these are appreciation or appropriation?
Appropriation.
Why?
Because I think that this picture she is pretending to be something, another picture, like it's pretending to be another copy of original.
Do you know the difference between appreciation and appropriation?
No.
Okay, appreciation is when you're taking something and you're like appreciating it. Like you're giving credit to the person, but it's like the same exact photo.
Okay.
And then appropriation is when you're stealing it.
Oh.
Alright, these are two different photos.
Yeah.
But this was the original and this is the recreation that someone in the school took.
Uh-huh.
Do you believe that this is appreciation or appropriation?
It's appropriation because they took the background and they're so much alike. It's just the variation of this. So you snatched it. It's appropriation.
Do you know the difference between appropriation and appreciation?
Well, I know appreciation, you have an understanding and an affinity for something. You might give homage to it, but I don't know the other.
So appropriating things is stealing it and changing like little things throughout it, or changing a lot of things throughout it, but then putting some similarities in it so it still kind of looks like the original picture.
Okay.
So these are two pictures. This one was created by an Old Master with a painting, and this one was created by a student in our class. Do you think this is appreciation or appropriation, and why?
So the appropriation, let me just clarify, is to recreate but with your own personal detailed spin of it,
Yes.
correct? So this would be a appropriation because we have similarities, yet it is not identical. You have similarities in the perspective, the eyes, the angles, the color, the tones a little bit. You see your lighting, but it's not exactly the same. We're dealing with really thick curly hair. We're dealing with like maybe more straight hair. Burgundy versus like a peachy tan. Less flowers of daisies, probably roses. More vibrant lips, very natural look.
Do you know the difference between appropriation and appreciation?
No.
Do you know what either of those words mean?
For art, no.
Do you know what they mean just in general?
Is that appropriation and appreciation? I mean, I think of appreciation, appreciate. You like something or you appreciate what someone does for you, so you have a sense of what they're giving up or sacrificing.
Okay, so so appreciation is like you're in art, you're like taking something and you're making it your own, and then appropriation is you're taking something and reworking it so that it doesn't look like the original copy, but you have little bits and pieces that do look like the original copy. So here are two pictures. This one was created by an Old Master, and this one was taken by a student in our class. Do you think this is appropriation or appreciation, and why?
Appropriation, because the form, like how she's sitting and how her arm is angled and her pose is the same, but it's not the same person. It's like a completely different image.
Do you know the difference between appropriation and appreciation?
Probably not.
Appreciation is when you take a photo and you appreciate it so much that like you see all the values in it and stuff like that, and you take it and you create it that it looks like it, but you change some different things, or it's kind of like the same. And then appropriation is when you're completely stealing it and you're taking it like completely, and maybe there's some similarities, but then like you're taking it but you still see how it's the same. Okay, so this picture is from an old master in the Renaissance era.
Okay.
And then this is a picture taken by a student in this school. Do you believe that
Okay.
this is appreciation or appropriation, and why?
Appreciation, because there are differences. It's not an exact copy. You have more of a modern mirror there. You have, I think, an iPad. So you took a modern spin to it.
Do you know the difference between appropriation and appreciation?
Yes.
Can explain
Oh, do I know that? Well, you're appropriating something by, so you're taking it. You're taking it, and you should be making it your own. You can appreciate something, and that's something that's completely different than appropriation.
But what does appropriation mean, or appreciation mean then?
To appreciate something, it's you're just observing it and recognizing it for its qualities, like its composition. If we're looking at artwork, its composition, its lighting, its various artistic elements. So I have to decide whether this is appropriation
Yes,
or
or
appreciation.
appreciation.
I would call it appreciation.
Why?
Well, we're talking about different medium. The lighting is different. It's not exactly the same because the gaze is a little different. This is more a little direct at the viewer. She's looking away in the opposite direction. Period of time is very different. You can see in the clothing is very different. The lighting is more raking over here coming from the left of the frame. This is a little more straight on. The hair is very different. I think that if this is trying to mimic that, there's more that could be done.
Like what?
Well, the lighting is wrong, for
Okay.
one. And if they were trying to do if they're trying to mimic this, they might do something about the period clothing.
Do you know the difference between appreciation and appropriation?
Appreciation and appropriation. I think I do.
Would you be able to tell me, please?
Appreciation is gratitude for something you have. Appropriation is, I think, to provide.
Okay, so appreciation for this is that you're taking someone's photo, but you're making it your own, but still giving credit to the person. And then appropriation is when you're stealing it and you're just like taking
Can you
it.
repeat the first one again?
Appreciation is when you're taking it, but
Yep.
creating your own, but still giving credit to the person who did it. Like you're
Gotcha.
making it exactly the same, but like there might be a little like differences.
With credit.
Yes, and then
Okay.
appropriation is when you're just stealing it and not.
Okay.
So these are two photos. This one was painted by an old master in the Renaissance area.
Okay.
And then this is taken by a student in this school. Do you believe that this is appreciation or appropriation?
My quick glance, my initial response would be appropriation because I don't see any credit given. It looks like the same pose, but this is a photograph and this is artwork, so I'm not sure if that still meets the definition. But I would say if this is being passed off as art, then appropriation. No credit given. I don't see it at least.
Do you know the difference between appropriation and appreciation?
No.
Do you know what appreciation or appropriation mean?
What appreciation means.
What does it mean?
That you value something.
Okay. So appreciation is like you value it and you kind of take it, but then you make it your own and you still give credit to the original owner. And then appropriation is when you just steal it from someone and then you run it off as your own when it's really not your own.
Okay.
So these are two pictures. This one was created by an old master, and then this was taken by a student in our class. Do you think that this is appropriation or appreciation, and why?
Well, it's very similar, so it could be appropriation. Kind of copied the concept of it.
Do you know the difference between appreciation and appropriation?
I think so.
What is it?
Okay, so appreciation is something that you truly, deeply understand. For example, someone washing your clothes. You know, as a kid, parents would wash the clothes, dry them, fold them, put them on the bed, and a kid would be like, oh, thank you so much, thank you so much. But until you've actually washed your own clothes, put them in the dryer, folded them, you really don't appreciate what your parents did for you until you understand what exactly was done.
Do you know what appropriation means?
Appropriation would pretty much be the opposite, I believe, where, like I said, you say thank you, but you don't deeply understand it to a very deep level.
Okay, so appreciation is when you take a photo and you make it the same-ish, but then you change certain things because it shows that like you like it so much that you want to make it something better.
Okay.
And then appropriation is when you're taking it and completely changing it, but you still see the similarities and differences. When you're looking, when you're looking at these two photos, this one was created from an old master and this was taken by a student in our school. Do you believe that it's appreciation or appropriation?
This is an original painting.
Yes.
Okay. So that was like the camera, all right? The artist was the camera back in those days, in those times. And I would definitely see this as appreciation because they're taking a portrait that was a painting and they're recreating it to make you know or remember or recall a specific portrait in art. So it's kind of like a student's take on a master work, but there's nothing innovative because it's creative. It's creative. You're taking something that's already been created and you're recreating it. And that's how I see it. It's appreciation.